missed you this week.
I've missed you too.
Oh, thank you.
Merlin man. It's been one of those weeks, and I haven't had one of these for a while where it just got a bunch of things happen, out of your control. It's just like bummer, things break around the apartment, typically for me, Wi-Fi. And then ever since we weren't able to record, everything's just, everything's coming up, Alex. It's been a delightful couple of days.
Can I put you at ease?
Yes.
If I may. Oh, sorry. May I try to put you at ease?
Sure.
Do I have consent to touch you wherever I feel like?
For the next 15 minutes, yes.
Can I ask you to not say no? No. Yeah. No, like doctors don't do that. Give me a fucking break. I want to put you at ease. It's fine to talk about it. I'm dropping the bit for this week. It's okay. There are still other things I would like to talk about, but there's the thing that it feels almost irresponsible not to give you 2 hours to talk about. But, there's other stuff too. I wrote down some stuff about data connectors and that Vulture article with the Pee-wee director. But, so are there other... So what had happened was... Anyway, I'll pause here. I'm going to put you at ease. Does that make you feel better? You're not in trouble.
I know I'm not in trouble.
You don't know that, because ordinarily I go, shut the fuck up and talk about something that's not a headline. Except. Unless. So what had happened was on Wednesday. Yeah, I guess it was on Wednesday the day. In the morning, you gave me a heads up that your apartment was swelling with water and there was no internet anymore, and the usual things. To which I am, wildly sympathetic. There's a phrase that I used to started saying to my wife from very, very early on. When we moved in together in 2000, and we moved into this, almost 100-year-old flat together, and things would happen, like something would fall off the wall, or just something would happen, and I would just mutter, "Trick house, trick house." You know what I mean?
Like, sound cool at this point.
Well, but like, the way you'd go, like, oh, that's a magic trick. Like, you just showed me, yes. This meant like, oh no, it's a trick house. There's a trick to doing the house, to using the house. There's tricks.
Oh, I see. There's a trick.
Okay, yeah. So an old example of this that I've mentioned before. I remember this so specifically. It's when Madeline and I were fixing to go to Vancouver. It was in 2001, November of 2001, and we're fixing to go to Vancouver to see Sloan. And our friend Christine was going to house sit for us. And we just gotten our TiVo, or Direct TiVo. We had our console stereo system. Everything's all worked out. And because I was, amongst my many tasks, a paid technical writer, I wrote a 5-page manual in Microsoft Word, beautifully formatted, to explain how to use our house, focusing mainly on the stereo and the importance of tape 1 and tape 2, and like how you got to change the inputs. And, it's like me trying to explain to my Freudian slip, me trying to explain to my stepfather in 1981 that you just leave the TV on channel 3 and then turn the cable box. He could never understand that. It seems so simple to me. You just stop using that as the channel changer. Use it. But to bring new people into your trick house, there's no amount of documentation that can fully prepare them for everything that they will encounter in your house. So I say that I'm sympathetic because it's not as simple as like, oh, you got to jiggle the key. It's more like, if there is a moon in the west upon the night in the dampness, and I feel thy towels have check that you haven't blown thine fuse in spare bedroom. No other spare bedroom. It really feels like I feel like I need a maester.
I think
Maester Aemon to just hang out.
Though.
Huh?
Well, you were being a good friend by providing this, what we'll find out to be
you need a self-documenting house.
Both of us tend to have a lot of documentation about ourselves, the world around us, and where we live. And, we should really capitalize on this more. You could get back into the racket, but
I'd be so good at that. And then I could have productivity tips.
Exactly. Be
Yeah.
like, hey, here's the hack for the. You never touch the channel changer, which
Yeah, it's like
I've
house,
never heard you
house
say.
zero. You burn it to the ground and move. So you yell out Friday
literally-
at 9 p.m. You yell house zero.
Sidebar. Merlin, you said channel
sidebar.
changer, which makes me so happy because there are going to be people who are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
And I don't mean
you
remote.
could have said
I don't mean
remote.
remote.
No,
No,
exactly. This is why there needs to be documentation.
This is before we had the
Exactly.
phrase set-top box. That was not a meaningful phrase at the time. But yeah, you get your cable box. And there was a trick, at least where I lived, that if you got the right size piece of cardboard and made a 1/4-inch fold at the end, had to be pretty thin, you could slide it into the top of the cable box, pull it out a little bit, and that fold you made would disconnect a circuit that would then let you get all the smoker channels.
I didn't understand most of those words, but they all
Channel
sound
changer.
very cool.
Channel changer. Trick house, self-documenting house. So what had happened was you did that and you said, it's been kind of crazy. So yeah, we did some rescheduling. But tell me, how's everything coming up Millhouse?
Oh,
Before we get to the big topic that I imagine is why we're
why we're a little bit late?
why we're double late. But yeah. I you know what? I already have a very sad diagnosis for you. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I have a sad diagnosis for you.
Oh, well,
You will
I'll
never,
look
you will
forward to
never
that.
again in your life, like most of us, you will never again in your life feel the dopamine that you felt, that we all felt on Thursday afternoon, my time. Well, that's when I discovered it. But if you were there when it first started and were riding along, I mean, that's got to be some escaped llama type shit.
It was every
I
time
caught it
something like
when
this
it was
happens.
I caught it when it was already kind of, because I'm on the West Coast also, but I was doing stuff, but I wasn't paying a ton of attention, and yeah, actually, you know what? I can say this now because they're back. My family went out to do some camping for one night last night. They went up to this really cool area called Point Reyes up north of here, and where you like pack in, pack out, like you backpack into your site and stuff like that, or it's a little bit rugged, and so I got wind of the incidents I got wind of the series of events happening not long after they went into an absolute zero contact phone area, from which they didn't really emerge until like 7 this morning. And I didn't say anything because, of course, what's the dumbest thing you can say? Well, Merlin 1.0 would have said something like, oh, shit, there's some crazy fucking news when you get back. Have fun. You don't do that. Like, oh, I had a butt prolapse. Go enjoy the deer. Like, you don't tell people shit like that, right?
Correct.
When my mom had a friend who got a prolapse.
I'm sorry.
She strained at her stool. So mom she had to push it back in, she said.
Oh,
Like that picture, remember the picture of the weightlifter?
no.
seen that
I'm
picture
gonna
of the
lie and
weightlifter?
say I don't. I'm gonna lie and say I don't. Oh, God.
You don't struggle at your stools.
No. Let it happen.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But anyway, and then, I mean, okay, I'm gonna do that thing that makes me just uniquely annoying. I imagine people like me and Marco who do this willfully to annoy people, but it's also true. I bet people hate us. Like Marco loves the fact that he's never seen any movies. He thinks that's hilarious. We all think it's weird. I think I'm the only person I know who is actually not on a lot of social media sites.
I agree.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm on, depending on how you count it. I mean, I would consider Blue Sky and what I call Ivory, Mastodon. I think Mastodon, Letterboxd, sure. I mean, I don't think of that as like really, but the only place that I go to like look at stuff is like Google News, New York Times. I have a New York Magazine subscription, a New York Times subscription. I look at Apple News, to find out what's happening at Cannes and in fashion. That's where I get all my fashion news. But I'm not. So I remember what it was like to have these lips around those titties. I remember what that was like very clearly.
Oh, yes.
And I'm reminded of it often, thanks to you and a friend of ours, who is at this point, let's be honest, he is almost completely off of Twitter at this point.
So is he
Except
the
for
only
the
one of your
dozens and
friends?
dozens and dozens and dozens of Twitter links that he sends me every day. So every time Syracuse sends me a link to something, and I appreciate it, but he doesn't think about it. I don't think he sends me a lot of stuff from like Instagram or TikTok that are actually, because he's Syracuse, they're actually a perfect thing that he knows I would love to see. He's very editorially conservative about sharing stuff unless he thinks it really like makes his point or shows as a demonstration of something.
Unless he needs
to win more.
Okay.
No, but like, or for example, if people say, oh my God, and this is still trickling in, admittedly slowly, but the people who are trickling in reports of, fuck, I didn't hear the important pronunciation. I didn't hear the thinking. I did not hear those pronunciations, not only until you mentioned it, but for months after. And now I've started noticing them. And I was like, so you can hear it, right? It's not, you can hear when David Sims says, look who's talking. And it almost sounds like he's talking a loogie on the mic. Or every young woman on CNN who says, Paul, So that trickles in. He'll send me those. I know. Do you see it now? You didn't see it before, right?
Well, I've never seen it. I hear it.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Anyways, but he'll send me stuff from Instagram all the time, and you send me anyways.
Oh, I send screenshots. That's something I think
you
that
let people know that if they want to send you things, they have to send you. You have a whole system with all of your the small council.
Correct. Which I genuinely didn't realize. Kind of when you realized that when I was working with Max, like before we started recording together, we had never like had actual interactions as friends, because why?
You seem to have a lot more information about his life than he did about yours.
Yes. Yeah. That's what happens when you're an employee.
Which I mean, haha, like that's not like file a lawsuit stuff. That's like welcome to having a job.
That's a normal thing. That's
not
a normal.
Well, I know more about my boss than he does about me.
Yeah.
Meow. But I'm 31 and confused.
But I genuinely today realized, you don't have a council that's constantly sending you links to social media sites that you don't visit.
I mean, I'm not sure why. I mean, I think also, I don't know. I mean, like I say, I'm accepting, I said this recently on a podcast, I'm keeping my heart open to the idea that if I can find a way to become less relevant to other people but still maintain a sense of self, that's a wholesome way for a person my age to proceed. If that's like a funny old guy thing, okay, well, I hope you do well with it too. But that's part of it. It's just I'd lose my fucking mind if I looked at this stuff. It's so stupid. It's all so stupid. And I get enough of it, honestly. I get enough of it from Apple News. And sometimes one might see, if one is on the internet that I'm on, you'll see me sometimes say, I'm catching up on my news. And I'll show you how insane my insane is, which is a lot of like, Andy Cohen style celebrity gossip stuff that I don't really care about. But I like Andy
here's
Cohen.
The thing, though. Yes, you have your own sort of niche of insanity. And
right. It's one thing to go through the trash looking for your retainer, and another thing to think you're going to find a chicken dinner. I'm being low key about it, Alex, but that was really, really good.
No, it wasn't.
It really was.
No, when you said it, I knew you would think it was good and be it's one of those few times where no, it's not good.
You ever have a retainer?
In fact, the one,
you ever take
the
it out to eat? You ever leave it on your tray? You ever been Chris White in 5th grade and your retainer went into the giant Rubbermaid Husky garbage can with all the food garbage?
Oh, Chris!
And you had to stand there in the lunchroom. I should mention, this is the second retainer that Chris has lost. You can guess how happy his family was about the first one being lost. This is the second retainer Chris lost. And he had to stand there like a 12-year-old boy, like sobbing, as he dug with the janitor's help, dug through the trash to try and find a $200 piece of plastic.
Oh my God, Chris.
You know what he didn't find?
I hope he's doing okay. What, Merlin? What didn't he find?
You know what he didn't find?
What's that?
Did you listen to the line?
I think,
chicken dinner.
I'm guessing
no chicken
he
dinner.
Didn't find a chicken dinner.
Also, it was lunch.
No buck box for him.
My dad got in trouble for eating a potato peel.
All right.
When he was in elementary school, People thought potato
Why?
peels. Had baked potatoes at lunch, and he ate the peel, and he got in trouble because you're not supposed
Those
to
are
eat
the
the peel.
most nutrients.
Well, that's
Why
where all
did they
the
get in
nightshade
trouble?
is.
Yeah, that's the vitamins and keeps away the vampires. I'm sorry. that
Eyes,
he had to
eyes,
experience
eyes, all
that.
staring at me.
Oh,
But no, we've all got that, and but I have this really restless. I don't know. The way I'm always chasing the dragon is like I'm always so thrilled to read something that something long and absorbing, and that's the dragon I'm chasing mostly. Is like it. I hate to sound like one of those I love books people because I'm not. But
hey, it's me.
well, but I mean, like my thing is more like, just to state some obvious ones, some classics from the show, something like something, I'm, you know what it is? Let's keep this simple. The dragon that I'm chasing is Land of the Large Adult Sons. I'm always waiting for the next GL level epoch-changing article like that. Or, I've got this wonderful book of Esquire essays from the 60s called Dancing Through the Apocalypse. And it's got some of the best Esquire things ever, including Frank Sinatra Has a Cold by Gay Talese. Like that kind of writing is what it just thrills me. I love it in good documentation. I love it in good blah blah text. And I certainly love it in a really good essay. I think the problem, I'm going to give you two problems right now. Problem number one, you are never going to feel dopamine like you felt yesterday. I don't even know what your response to the incident is, but I can tell you just based on my own, suddenly I'm looking at the news. It's like they shot a blimp out of the sky, full of cheerleaders or something. Like this is a really big story and whatever. And then, but like, here's the problem. And this is why you're already sad this morning. You'll never have that hit again. And I bet it doesn't get worse, which is the bummer. I was hoping it would at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I kept thinking, let's be honest, why am I watching this? Because I want to see people freak out, but I also want to see this in the same way as here's the big bomb tweet or scoot or chit or gash or whatever they're called on his website. When the post about the big bomb dropping, that changed the tenor of the conversation a little bit, but also kind of drew out why Trump's threat to shut down SpaceX stuff was such a big deal, right? And wasn't there a point yesterday afternoon where you're like, there's a chance that this could actually get 100 times worse in the next hour? And you're like,
No.
bring it, put it in my mouth. Get it.
Okay.
I was waiting for something completely fucking insane to happen. Steve Bannon said something, and I'm kind of surprised, or as the New York Times calls him, Stephen K. Bannon, Johnny Two Pen. He said on his program that he thought the president should instantly cancel everything that Elon Musk's companies do contract-wise, like tonight. He's like, tonight, shut them all down. And also that he should immediately deport Elon Musk.
When I
was
saw
like,
that one,
well,
I got
what
very
if-
excited. I got
'cause, like,
so excited.
Because God, I accidentally took this over, and I'm so sorry. Stephen Miller's wife works for Elon now,
Yes, I do.
and I'm like,
I don't like that I know that, but
whose provocation is going to provoke whom?
already.
And what if he is truly getting cucked by Elon? What if he's already put a baby in Stephen Miller's wife?
I mean, it is not just a non-zero.
I know
chance,
this
as they
is not
say.
real,
It
but I'm
happens.
just asking the
Merlin,
question.
It could be.
It could be. You're saying, do you know, we
So
don't,
could
have you
be.
ever noticed this in the New York Times and other places? You know what they always say about Elon Musk? They always say the phrase, his known children.
Known children.
Because you know better than to say that. If you said to, let's say you call up not Roto-Rooter, you call up a pest person. What do they call those? You call up Dale Gribble. You call up Dale Gribble.
Exterminate.
Yes, we don't say that anymore. You call up Dale Gribble, but Happy D-Day. You call up Dale Gribble
yeah.
and you say, I have 4 cockroaches in my house and I want them removed, and I'll pay $5 per cockroach, or I'll pay $1 per cockroach. And Dale Gribble goes, I'm not going to do the voice. Dale Gribble says, well, if you see 3 or 4 cockroaches, there's a pretty good chance there's more cockroaches there. Maybe we oughtn't price this job by the roach. Because he knows he's got, unless Rusty Shackelford. Yeah, it's a dead 13-year-old boy. He stole his identity. Anyways, but no, seriously, there was a point yesterday that, whatever, you don't want to say things, but like the thing about 9/11.
Continue.
The thing about 9/11 is like, there's a lot about it that was pretty upsetting. I was shaken awake by my girlfriend. I was shaken awake and was like, Giles just called, your boss just called. Come look at the TV. At the DirecTV that we just gotten. And okay, well, this is really bad. And you know how this goes. Plane hits building. Oh my God. Fire, smoke, fire. Another plane hits another building. Well, to paraphrase Oscar Wilde, what's the line? Something like, losing one parent is a tragedy, but losing two feels like carelessness. Isn't that a great line?
Didn't expect
plane
to go that way, but yes.
Plane, building, boom. Plane, building, boom. Okay, this is already the most unlikely thing that's to quote Peter Benchley, that's no boat accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's kind of weird. And at first they thought they were like Piper Cubs or whatever, but then like, no, they're 7-something-7s. Like it's a big old plane. What are the chances? What are the chances that a plane flew in a building and another plane flew? You're like, oh my God, this is absolutely the most insane thing that can ever happen. And then you know what happened? One of the buildings fell down, like straight down. I don't know if you remember this. This was the part that was really freaky. I mean, it was scary in the time after the plane hit the building. But the thing that was really, I don't know if you remember this, one of the planes hit a building and then that building, it fell straight down. And you're like, okay, this is okay. This does not seem like an accident. And boy, is that ever crazy. But at least we still got the other one, albeit smoking. And then you know what happened? Like right in the middle of a sentence.
Go boom!
Bam! The whole building. Now they both fell down. Where'd the buildings go? They're gone. There's just, oh my goodness. At that moment, when that second building went down, honestly, after the first building went down, but especially after the second building went down, I've never felt more, I don't know quite how to phrase this. Quite so like, epistemologically adrift. Like I did not know what was happening. And and then you find out about the Pentagon. And then you find out about, I know you know the story, but instead of we constantly say 9/11 and that means this million things, and that's part of the joke, is the joke of people who dine out on 9/11 or use it as the starving African child. You just go 9/11 and you're like, okay, well, like what part of 9/11? The part where we invaded Iraq? Or anyway, so I honestly, Madeline and I both, and I'll bet your family, you were 11?
Yes.
And,
no,
or so.
10.
But, that was a moment where a grown person goes, what could possibly happen now? There have been at least four extremely improbable things. And, I'm going to say weird, sad, schmaltzy, but true, sad things about it. Like if you watch a documentary or like every year or so, I'll watch the entire thing on the CNN recording of it. Because it was a big deal. And, but everybody says the same thing. It was the most beautiful day you could possibly imagine. A gorgeous Tuesday morning. Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, will come out that day. It's a beautiful, clear sky over the Empire City. And, people are always talking about that. And like, you never in a million years could have guessed. And then you see the famous footage of the guys. I think it's like a French documentary, right? They were shooting about people who were testing gas levels coming out of the sewers or something. And you see that famous shot. And it's like, do you remember? But okay, so 9/11, different level. But I have to say, when we got to the big bomb yesterday.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
I'm
sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Continue.
So at this point, we're at least at the point of a plane flew into a tall building. At that point, I'm going to shut off. Because remember, do you remember that guy who used to wear the hats and the shirts and he jumped up and down? Up until last week, he was pretty enthusiastic about the president in a way that was quite funny and silly, but he was fully committed. He lived there for a while. I know this has all been covered, but just for context for that, in the same way that we thought, or perhaps the way that Putin was surprised that a truck full of $600 drones could take out billions of dollars in fighter jets or bomber jets. Didn't you feel that a little bit, though? Like, what the fuck? Okay, or like, well, you know, to do the Anchorman thing, that escalated quickly. We're now at, Elon is so fucking mad, especially about Trump threatening his businesses, I think. That he reveals himself to have probably actually a fairly weak hand, which is that he went directly to the nuclear option. I mean, what's the worst thing that I could say about Donald Trump right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I
it
feel
dovetails
like
with her challenge in a great way. except.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah,
in several ways.
I couldn't. That's the first thing I started. Well, there were so many. We experienced this.
At least even on the most like superficial level, the fact that something we've all been dealing with for better or for worse for a long time, which is in a lot of situations, an accusation can be just as bad as proof or a conviction. It doesn't. An accusation
Sometimes
can be plenty.
Worse. I
because
think,
especially if you're asking somebody to like prove a negative.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And so like, what would that look like? And that's why Stephen K. Bannon saying, you know, I've always had a strong feeling that he's here illegally. And like, it would just be so goddamn weird given that it's been less than a week and we're already to this point. And so anyway, my bummer part of this is I think we've seen, I hope I'm wrong. Because I'm becoming a Chapo accelerationist black pillar or something. Like, I don't know. Just there's times where you're like, oh, I missed having feelings. And what if it got way worse and they got sillier? Or, you know, what if we found out that Stephen Miller was getting cucked by Elon Musk? Or what if we found out that Scott Besson had actually punched Elon in the eye?
Just for the nature of the world, honestly, if Stephen Miller is being cucked, I think that's a net win for everybody. Like
especially
the
for
amount
the
of humility.
Cucks.
Yeah, exactly.
It shows you don't even need hair to have your wife dislike you.
Thank you.
You're no different. Thank you. You're no different. In Santa Monica, he was raised to have certain expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're paid to pick up after us.
And you know what's happening now? He's getting his fucking tray bust.
I hope people know.
Remember, there's footage of him. Isn't there footage of him complaining about this?
No,
he's tired of having to pick up his own trash.
Yelling about it. He is yelling about how the janitors aren't picking up after him, and I'm like, what did take to have in college? There's a lot of college takes that most people I think aren't proud of, but that is one that really
I wonder if okay, so before we jump into implications, now that I've monopolized 29 minutes and 17 seconds of this podcast,
I need at least just 5 minutes.
No. I want to be super clear.
Totally
okay, first of all,
different
I went into this going like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to hit mute and let Alex go as long as they want because I want to hear all of it. I want to be very clear with you, and I apologize. I had absolutely no intention of coming in here and monopolizing this, but as it turns out, forgive me, I didn't realize I had things to say about this, and now I've said it. I'm sorry for monopolizing. But what was your day like yesterday?
I don't accept this apology. I'm so glad that I know about your experience and need to contrast it with mine. Because
you accept apologies you accept or refuse apologies in a surprisingly hostile way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's it. I agree.
Blame the church.
I agree.
Oh, you think you're sorry? Oh, you weren't thinking you were sorry when you were banging on your mean bone? Oh, ta-ta-ta-ta. Hail Marys and Super Josephs and, you're going to have to go and do sit-ups.
Does it? I guess I'm not
ecclesiastical sit-ups.
Is it because I'm a leprechaun Pentecostal? Is it?
That's your priest.
Okay.
Oh, is your priest more like a Da Bears guy?
He's...
And also with you. And your peace, or whatever. What is it now?
And with your spirit. It's very weird.
There's a joke John Mulaney makes that I make a lot on here, and I make it often. I think you remember what this joke is, but I don't know anything about Andy Cohen apart from the fact that he hosts the New Year's Eve thing with Anderson Cooper, and I'm aware of the fact that he's like, I think on E, he's like a big celebrity, and he hosts things related to like the Real Housewives shows. And you remember the line. And it was John Mulaney. What was he referring to? John Mulaney was referring to something where he's like stuck between two people who are arguing about something. And he goes, and remember what he says? He says, I feel like Andy Cohen at one of those Real Housewives reunions. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Imagine Andy Cohen. Okay. He likes being in the White House very strongly.
That's
Also, that key he gave him in the White House.
Oh, I love the key.
Oh, I also have something to say about his black eye. My wife and I have a theory. Alex, tell me about your Thursday. And thank you for being here, Alex. Well, our guest today is Alex Cox. Alex Cox is a retired technologist living in a hovel.
Thank you, Merlin Man. Glad
Hi, and welcome.
to be here. Thank you.
Or as they say
Merlin
now,
Man.
welcome in. You say that now. Isn't that horrible?
Who started that? Like,
Fuck
I
that.
assumed that Michael
I think it's
Barbaro
rustic.
did.
It's rustic. It sounds like Portland.
But it.
I mean,
no
a lot of people like to pretend like they're living in
Frontier.
Frontierland. I don't understand it.
Thursday afternoon, mid morning, I suddenly get a series of screenshots of tweets
From the small
similar
council?
to when, but here's when I know something big has happened.
Okay.
My small council of people who know that they can send me TikToks and tweets and and Instagram as long as it's a screenshot or a video they've downloaded, because while I will happily consume all of this trash, I don't want to log
If
in.
you make a little, it's like
lazy.
a CAPTCHA. You make a little bit of work for them, and then that raises the bar on the quality.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be worth it. If you're going to send me an article that I would have to sign into, you have to go to archive.is and get me the link that's been mirrored. You just,
I am grateful when people do that, but I'm even more grateful, especially if it's it's a good fit, right? Like for somebody, if it's something where that's about something people know I'm interested in or potentially have been obsessed about for years or whatever. But I'm grateful when somebody sends me that, but I'm grateful especially when they could take a minute to do more than this is up your alley, or I think you'd be interested in this, because you're sending it to me as somebody who's read the whole article or watched the whole video. So you have a very clear idea in mind about something in a philosophy tube video at minute 70. And I probably won't get to that. So I think it is helpful.
That's why you send the timestamp. That's
you
why
can, but it's even better to say, you think you've seen an apparatus, look what these guys had to deal with in Bali last summer or whatever. And you're like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm looking for.
This is a good note. Because
just a little
sometimes
context. You can provide context without spoiling things. But if you don't give if one doesn't give any context to somebody about why they're sending it, what it's for, or what they should be looking for, I'm very unlikely to look at it.
Which I think should, when you text somebody something without context, I think the expectation should be they're not going to look at it, which is how I typically send
wholesome. Yeah.
links. Listen, I don't want to make expectations of
It's like
people.
throwing Christmas cards in the trash.
It's
or recycling. Thank you.
thank you.
Did our family always buys each other inappropriate cards? We always buy each other cards for the wrong holiday.
Yes.
On Mother's Day, I thank my beautiful black wife for everything she's done for our family.
I like when
my beautiful Nubian princess. Billy's cards to me tend to skew Jewish. Or skewish.
Not Thai.
Nope.
Oh, I just want to know. I just want to.
Happy D-Day, everybody.
Jewish. I know that a big event has happened when multiple people text me outside of my usual news sphere and my usual degenerate weird Twitter sphere.
Were you able to look at were you doing something that allowed you to look at what they were sending, or were you I'll look at this later? I'm guessing you looked at it.
I did because it was
Nothing wrong with
it
that. I
broke
would do the
through.
same thing, probably, depending on the day. It's like if I'm just walking around the house puttering or doing something, sometimes I deliberately kind of shut things off because for that reason is I like whatever it's for. I don't need a reason. You all should be doing this more often. Do not disturb is there. It's okay to use it.
Yes.
It doesn't say
which is
anything.
why-
If you're doing it because you have terrible friends, that's as Jenny Nicholson says, that's a skills issue. But if you're doing it just because you'd like to have a moment to yourself, it would be a shame if we had to start giving a reason for wanting that.
Well, but that's
So
that is
who
why.
hit you first? Was it Kara?
I say, of course, it was Kara. She is the least wholesome.
Tell Kara I
of
said hi. I like her.
The amount. Well, I will. I was because I am all often on do not disturb mode, trying to do a thing with focus. That's why I was
ADHD. ADHD. A lot of people don't know that
Slowly
Beethoven's Fifth Symphony was actually about attention deficit disorder. ADHD.
It was the perfect place and at the perfect time. I was in the library. I had all of the filters turned off. I was ready for everything.
Oh, you had all the shields down.
I had let the turrets were off, the gate was down, and I was eating a little power bar. Nom, nom, nom,
In the library?
Yes, there's
I don't think there's any eating in the library, Alex.
Secret, unless you have a private room. They've got these little. It kind of is like
You
a
get a
little
super
hovel
Carol?
type situation.
Oh, like a break, not a breakout room. What do they call it? My wife has a name for this. It's really
It's
depressing.
like a study. Well, they're called study rooms.
Privacy
but they-
booth.
It does look.
Can I reserve a privacy booth? I'm going to put aluminum foil over that little skinny window. Don't ask why.
Yeah, it's the kind of room where you go when you want to look at Twitter for 8 hours or eat your little power bar.
Oh, library's great for that. So great.
Oh, so good.
Because almost it's like I say quiet car, but then that's something where everybody's going to go, the problem with the quiet car is no one's quiet. But in my library anyway, it's just the locals, just like wanting to read the paper or like look at the computer or whatever. It is really quiet and it's nice. And it has an outside area, which is nice.
Oh,
There's this tiny little terrace.
We have an outside area too, but it's just called Chicago and the outside. Anyway, I was just looking at all this and realized this was going to be a chasing the llama
do you
blue
remember
dress.
What Kara said? Remember what Kara said? I mean, I'm not asking you to look it up and quote it, but I'm interested in finding out when your brain first went, as in is this dopamine? Dun, 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 yum, 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 yum. Like, when did it first hit you that oh, shit? Because this had been, happening a little bit since, especially after Friday, kind of started Monday, Tuesday. There was that big thing. And then there's just this thing hanging in the air, which is that Elon had said this thing about his, the budget bill. I'm not going to say the name being,
You told me what the name was. This is the different piles of trash that we go in. You on this program said the big beautiful bill, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I had no idea.
Because he's been saying it for months. For months, he's been saying, I'd like to fix this with one big beautiful bill, in his usual dumb way. So, Kara hits you up. You're in your little snack Carol.
My
Love that Neil Sedaka song. Snack Carol.
I'm not gonna say.
No.
I'm just in my little cave, and I don't even think it was the tweet where
Was it the press? Was it when he was because it started in the office with the German fella, and that's when he said two things that ended up being important. He's disappointed in Elon, and then I think he misses being in the Oval Office when people leave my administration. Trump derangement syndrome. That was, I think, what, at least in the story I understand, kind of kicked things off, because it was 20 minutes after that the birthday boy hopped in. False.
It ended up being the video where it was that video, but it was just a clip of something like he had the chance to see it. He misses the
He's
thing.
just mad he's just mad we took out this The poor
his
kid.
his little his EV treats. But it wasn't like it wasn't that. It was the dopamine of all of the memes and the response from the
shit!
right
You
wing.
poor thing. No.
No,
Oh, so
it was
you're
great.
already
I
like you're all.
loved it. It was,
yeah. Speaking of the
saw
Second
it.
World War, you're like that little boy, just trying to get a place in the honey. You know what I mean? The kid who wants to hide in the shitter with the other kids, and they're like, "There's no room in here." You've seen Schindler's List, right? You got dropped into the deep end, meme first.
That's what I want. That's what I wanted since the whole Trump.
You never got resolution from your breakup with him at all.
Yeah. All right, we will recognize and drop the bit that since 2014, and I read the Ashley Vance biography.
Good fucking luck
on-
pulling yourself out of this horseshit, Alex. I deliberately do not make fun of you about this, except when it is appropriate. Don't make yourself come off to be full of shit and act like you suddenly got very wise and made an announcement 2 years ago about this. You were in the bag for this idiot for so long.
Okay. Since 2014, there is podcast evidence of me being like, this guy, he seems to have great ideas, but he keeps saying that they're going to happen.
It really changes the tenor of the conversation that you're able to mention a year. Because certainly there will be people who scrub through all the bullshit you've done in 11 years to find that point and then go, Alex was right. You could wear that on a hat like Elon did. Trump was right about everything. You notice how he wears the hat really high on his head? I bet that's because of his fake hair.
I think so too. Yes, because
I had a friend who had a hair problem, and he would do that. Yeah.
Yes.
He was like it was like a reverse bird's nest. It was like the eggs were keeping the nest comfortable. A reverse bird's nest. I'll write that down.
First bird's nest. I wanted to be dropped into the memes. I was just being, like fully, my eyes were open without goggles, like underwater, like it stung a little bit, but I wanted to
but
see
you want
it.
to see that turtle.
Oh, God, it was great. Here's the problem. I began to quickly realize that amongst all my friends, I am the Elon Musk expert. I know the history of this man
You read a
in
book
a
about
way
him.
that isn't wholesome. I've read 4
You've read more than one book about him. Okay, anyway, but you're familiar with not just the part of the legend that people know from the last few years. You're even like pre-Iron Man, right? Like you go back with this guy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's when, again, that's like when he became a thing. But when Steve Bannon tweeted out he should be deported,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we still don't know the answer to that, because that is a question that even comes up in the most recent biography that Walter Isaacson wrote.
But let's be honest. Like, what's one more abuse of the deportation process? What's one more?
Well, I was surprised that people didn't know that, like, he came from South Africa to Canada and just kind of like slid into PayPal. And
I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that he's younger than me. And you should see what his hair looked like in 2001 is what I think you should do.
Oh, it's so upsetting.
He's younger than I am. Why is he so greasy and moist and can't grow a beard?
I
don't like the I don't like his
testosterone is the reason. If there's
it all goes into babies. Because, normally people who lose their hair and are able to grow a big beard usually have more testosterone. I'm not sure testosterone has a huge role in inseminating women. But I don't know. I think the testosterone makes you horny, probably. Or not. I don't really know. I'm the only person in our house not on testosterone. So.
I was going to say there's a lot of some trans guys will lose their hair fairly quickly if their body decides like, oh yeah, I want this.
I feel like I've seen that.
Yeah.
Especially, yes, with people who are in the first act or second act, maybe second act of that. You'll see people who are like, oh, you kind of went straight into Giamatti.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who start testosterone and start taking finasteride right away.
Alex, be careful what you ask for. You didn't say which man you wanted to be.
Oh boy!
Now you look like Jaws from the James Bond movies.
So at this point I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't know if it is really unclear whether Elon Musk is a citizen. And then I became the answerer of like, so wait, Kara asked this, like, do people not know that Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein? And that's when I also realized not only
everybody kept that thing in MSNBC.
I'm like, that's the big
they
bomb?
showed that video that Alex, this tells you how deranged you, me, and Max are, because we've been on this shit for so long, so deep, so hard. It's with Max's guidance, we really made it through a lot of very good Jeffrey Epstein content on this program, and much to my chagrin, unfortunately, a lot of it was very, very terrible. But when they kept showing that video of him at the party with Epstein and the little MSNBC bug in the window, and MSNBC's like, oh, people have been pulling up our video, and everybody's in Jake Tapper, who loves making fun of MSNBC. But wait, whoa. So is this the first time you're hearing this? Had you not known that he really admired Jeffrey Epstein for a long time? Are you just learning this?
I'm gonna push back on that, Merlin. It was again Kara Fagan who introduced me to the Jeffrey Epstein beat, because she had a disgusting and weird fixation with the depravity of the royal family, and when the Prince Andrew stuff,
and then when he said he can't sweat.
Yes, this was pre that, when it turned out that he had been hanging out with Stephen Hawking. Like, Jeffrey Epstein has been a strange part of my life pre-TrueAnon, pre-Chapo. I've been aware of this pedophile for years. The places he lived in.
Saying Stephen Hawking's a pedo?
No. Now, listen, just because you ride a plane.
I accept your apology. That's what he said.
No comment. Moving past it. No.
Oh no. Okay.
Moving
fine.
past it.
We're all made of star stuff.
Here's the thing. Did he
just like being pushed around in the chair, or did it go deeper? Did he like people clapping his erasers, if you know what I mean?
Think about how he cheated on his wife a lot.
What? When he was? Are you talking about the Eddie Redmayne character, or the later one? Did people sit on his face or something? Like, what did he do?
No.
You know what you could do? Those wheelchairs have handles, so you could move it from side to side. And you know what you could do? You could you could lean the chair way back. So I'm imagining, I think this is a kind of, what was it before? Reverse, we're going to call this the reverse bird's nest, is the name of this move. Oh, no. It's similar to reverse cowgirl, except it's when you make Stephen Hawking eat you out by climbing on top of him, rolling the chair back to 45 degrees, and then you hold the handles with your feet on the floor. And then you can shake it from side to side.
I return null.
You don't think so?
I don't. Return.
Oh, that's not. Sorry, that's the sound that the machine would produce while he was kind of linking. It would go. Oh, you could do that. You could do that lame thing where he spells the alphabet. Yay.
No. Why are we being mean to Stephen Hawking?
Q. Because you said he was on the Lolita Express.
Yes,
doing hand stuff with Trump.
No, I just said he was the Lolita Express. In fact, the first picture I think I saw of the Lolita Express was.
Did they move him into a seat, or did they just strap his chair to the fuselage?
No, he was just in his chair. I'm glad that we can rise above ableism and talk about what a dickhead Stephen Hawking was.
Fuck! I disagree with all of that. I think Stephen Hawking was fucking amazing, but I think it is hilarious that just to imagine how you accommodate that man and his desires on the Jeffrey Epstein plane. Because here's the thing, Jeffrey Epstein, what we know from Kara, and from our scholarship, is he liked to associate himself with Harvard, MIT. Like, he would wear Harvard shirts all the time.
He wanted to be cool. That's why he was always on The Simpsons. He
looks like he has bad breath.
Stephen Hawking. Why? What?
Oh well, he's English. That's a different thing. No. Okay, I'm saying that. I'm saying that the financier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
The financier, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, that's his teeth did look a little they looked a little Brit. Maybe
Well, that's why he always had that
his
smirky
teeth
smile. He'd do a
looked a
smirky
little-
smile. Giselle or whatever her name is, she'd always be smiling real big in her little cowgirl outfit or whatever, like, you know, her fringy pimp style drip. But no, but Jeffrey, he'd be there in his little Harvard shirt, him and the Dersh, who was the commencement speaker at New College this year.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not mention to you
What?
that Alan Dershowitz was the commencement speaker at New College?
Oh my God! Is there a video? I can't type fast enough for this. Oh my God!
The problem is if you don't get the Lolita Express, you have to take the regular line, which makes a lot more stops.
No.
No, it's funny because an express bus, for example, skips a lot of stops to get you there faster. And if you say something's the Lolita Express, that implies that there must be like a regular Lolita line for non-rush hour trips. Shake my handles.
That's. You're just stealing bits. You're
From
just
whom?
stealing from mediocre comedians who
What?
put their
Who did I steal that from?
from. I'll find it.
Oh, well, then fuck it. I don't
like
know.
Lolita Express. I guess that
see, I
means
could
it's
see
a-
I could see like Family Guy having a Stephen Hawking motorboating thing. Also, you know, and I'm not saying that it was a child. It might have been an air host. And I said
Oh,
host.
and
Can I top off
offered.
your drink if you know what I mean?
Listen, if Elon, remember when Elon Musk said, I will buy you a horse if you
Yeah,
touch my
right.
penis on an airplane. Why is it always airplane?
Yeah.
Whatever.
No. It's like the thing where
It's
you
a
cry.
bit of
It's like
an-
those articles about whether you cry and because is it the oxygen? Is it the drinks? No. I'm fascinated by it too. Like I think everybody has a weird thing on planes, but maybe it makes some people horny. It seems to make a lot of people hostile. Maybe that's just flying commercial.
It's a lot of people hallucinate as well, which I'm very interested in. That's not something I've done. But now that we know
If more
how
pilots
many
would listen to their co-pilots'
potential-
concerns, we could solve a lot of these problems.
how do I turn myself up?
Did you watch it?
Did you? No. I will. But the idea now.
Let's pause and recap. So at this point, Kara has alerted you to this. You're
we
aware
are
of it.
5 minutes in, and me
Okay.
explaining.
But
Wait,
just
no.
to be
When
clear, this is before
Bannon-
the big escalate, the couple three big escalations. You're in, and as they like to say on cable news, in real time. You're following along. But whereas I got all that information an hour after it happened, you're still having a 9/11. Like where you don't know what's next, right? But oh boy, this is weird. That seems like as soon as Elon does his false, this is an obvious, you're already like, oh man, oh, this is going to get weird because neither of them can let these stand. And Trump's already tried so hard to not lash out at him. And you could see it in the White House thing where he said, well, he wasn't attacking me personally. I wish he had attacked me personally because the big beautiful bill is going to save $1 trillion. You know, all the usual stuff of like, you know, saying the quiet part loud.
Oh yeah, if you were on Truth Social, which of course I
Which
am,
he
and
owns.
felt, I felt.
Imagine getting in a fight. You both own a social media network.
That's part of the beauty of this.
The richest person in the world and the theoretically most powerful, but whatever. Two like famous idiots. Like, and they each own their own platform. It's so weird. It's like something out of Mad Max. It's like if the guy from Bullet Town and the guy from Gasoline Town started fighting, but on social media.
It's
Quack, quack.
most
I love her horn.
when there was the article that came out from the New York Times that said, okay, yep, everyone's worried because Elon Musk has taken a lot of ketamine, and then there was the little ceremony where Trump and Musk were like, we still love each other, but
gave
we
him a
can't
key.
even stay together for the kids, and here's a little key.
And the box had his signature on the box.
I thought, and I think a lot of people thought, all right, we thought it would end super funny. It would be great, but I guess it's gonna,
Well, they were
peter
saying
out
you could feel
all
that
in
it
an
was not the
almost
same.
normal way.
It wasn't the same conviviality as, you know, And like what I'm gonna avoid the somewhat obvious jokes. Although imagine I'm making them in my head, but
You did the obvious Stephen
what?
Hawking jokes, so just lean into it.
How is that an obvious joke?
About Stephen Hawking.
About Stephen Hawking eating pussy on a plane? How is that an obvious joke?
Because we run in different circles, clearly.
Oh.
It's really funny to think of. Listen,
if you follow me on the internet, you'd see something I wrote the other day, which is I said that there are times I do the New York Times puzzle often, not every day, but especially I do strands, I do connections, and I do spelling bee in my own special way. And what I said on the internet the other day is there are times where I just close that puzzle for the day, especially with connections and with strands. And I think what I said was because I could figure out that solving this puzzle will require knowledge that I find undignified. And so like if I've got to use undignified information to solve a puzzle, I won't solve the puzzle. That tells
like
you
a very
so
healthy
much
and
about
normal thing
and the example
to do.
I gave was, I don't know if you did this one the other day, the strands from a couple days ago, but there's times where I just glance at it and get the whole thing. But 90% of the time, I've got to really grind and trying to not use clues, right? Like that's our house rule is you don't use clues. And sometimes I lucked out and I got the very
That's
first.
undignified.
To not use clues? Or to use clues?
Or to not get the purple one first in connections. Like,
Fuck you, you've never gotten the purple one first.
I
Like you've gotten it twice by accident.
I have. Yeah, like 3. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
I've
because
gotten it.
you didn't fall into the trap of like, oh,
I've
these are
gotten
3
it
things about golf.
18 times.
First
half
thing you
of
do
them,
when you
yes,
open
by
that,
accident.
first time when you open connections, the first thing you do before you even look at the words, hit refresh 3 times. You need to scramble those so it's out of the order that they're trying to fuck your head with, where you go, these are 3 things about golf. And then you get fixated and go like, no, they're using that as a verb, not as a noun, and da-da-da, but undignified. And so you got to be careful about that stuff. Now you
Losing
have
your
no
dignity.
you have no dignity, so
No, none whatsoever.
all information
If I had a
at that
shred
point.
of self-respect, it'd be a very
I'm sorry,
different
I took
person.
you off your story, but at what point did you go from whatever mode you're in over here doing this thing? Did you, if in retrospect, if you can say, what do you remember where in the a series of events you went straight into like refresh mode?
It was when I guess I don't know exactly, but it was when a right-wing
Had they gotten into the
influencer
like
was
he wouldn't have won if it wasn't for me?
It was before that, but it wasn't about Trump and Musk tweeting at each other. It was the influencers and the discourse and
Alex.
if I'm gonna be,
boy.
but that's the thing. If
You're like
I'm
somebody who gets
going to
addicted
get-
you're like somebody who gets addicted to normal gambling but isn't losing money fast enough, so then you get super into proposition bets.
That's that's the thing.
Like your entire
you
world
can't-
is this twisted meta experience that amounts to less than nothing.
okay. It's kind of
No, it's
like
good.
it's
Super
a bit
wholesome.
no
Yes. Love
the
it.
reason I have the all the safeguards of I don't want to log in, I don't want to see any of this because I know I will just lose all my dignity and roll around in the slop. But if you get a little bit dirty, it's like at that point it's like, oh, why
Well,
not?
this is why I think you're
not?
trying to be a little bit high-handed this episode, and I don't know why. I gave you real easy lines about Stephen Hawking eating pussy on a plane, and a really easy line also about planes about 9/11 and how when 9/11 was happening, what we now call 9/11. Hey, guess what? It's like that wonderful scene in Severance where they're asking Mark S. Why they didn't call it World War One, and he's like, well, because there hadn't World War One, what we call because basically it was still going on, and there hadn't been a second one. It would be like calling somebody John Smith Sr. When he hasn't had any children. It's not necessary to do, and that's why I say for you 9/11. Didn't you have a feeling though at that point? Even at that point where you're like at least going like, "Oh, it's on." Did you have that feeling?
The weird, well, no.
Because what
for
did the
me-
memes tell you and the influencers?
when it's similar though, because my main experience of 9/11.
Oh, and this is
was
the kind of shit that
watching
Max. But this is the kind of shit
react.
you and Max look at. It's like it's shit from like very short tweets from people like Black Pill, Anus Face, Rick and Morty, like, and go like, well, at least I burp, that kind of stuff. That kind of like that kind of like those kind of jokes.
No, it's those aren't the good. You start to there starts to be
But to get to like one of those that's funny, and this is why Max as a Service, MAAS, is so good, is that I know from my experience, like, and one thing you're suffering from right now, you suffer from yesterday, you're going to continue to suffer from this, is like, you're going to be chasing the dragon because the big dopamine blasts don't come. No. That's why we keep going slip and refreshing. It's because the little dopamine blasts aren't doing it for us. Right? We gotta like, we're waiting, like, where's the big one? Where's the big one? That's what makes me an accelerationist, is like, I need more dopamine. Even if this is terrible, I need to feel harder. You don't get that.
I
the
get
influencers
that.
do.
I get,
but you got to go through
I
1,000
get that.
dumb remarks from like Jen Palmieri before you get to like a good black pill Twitter.
No, I understand that feeling, but there have been so many points of that since 2016 of just like a great example, not a 9/11, but when on
We
January
still got him
6th,
this time.
we got him this time. We got him.
Yeah, but I like the phrase "we still got him this time." Yeah, still got him this time. This is absolutely it.
It's once Musk owned Twitter, it was kind of you felt like you had the dragon. Like there was no other, there wasn't anything you can do. Like the whole heroin thing that you kind of alluded to, of like, once the first time you have a strong opiate, most people will never have that experience again, just because your brain
I think
can't.
that's where, as far as I know, that's where the phrase comes from.
Yeah.
When you say chasing the dragon, it is especially with opiates that, and I've heard people talk about this with stuff like crack. Who's the comedian? Where somebody goes, well, no, but crack, I mean, for people my age, crack is, I mean, before that, it was just regular cocaine, where it's like, oh, you don't want to get started with cocaine. It's really addictive. But like the people I know who've had crack were like, yeah. Or it was John Mulaney who made the joke. No. It's in that Great Mr. Show bit where Bob Odenkirk is getting a lie detector and everything he says is true. So they keep asking him more and more outlandish things. And like, have you ever smoked crack? He goes, yeah, smoked crack. And like, what? Was it good? And he goes, yeah, it was great. It's crack.
It's crack. Yeah, crack. It's fine.
But that's the thing. Or, let's, without being gross about it, I mean, I would imagine that some of one's early orgasms in the long run are probably more intense than a lot of one's final orgasms. Like that is the kind of dragon people chase too, I think. Or maybe it's like Proust dipping his Madeline into Stephen Hawking. 9-volt battery, haha. RSTU.
Ooh, that would be another
WWW. I don't think you could say XYZ. I bet it's
no
Z.
one. Oh, I wonder. Zed.
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed. I think I know my refresh point actually, because I've still kind of been. It was JD Vance. It's like, when is he going to do it? When's he going to do it? When's he going to do it? That I think is my.
Sorry, with what? With yesterday?
He still hasn't tweeted.
Oh. Yeah, I think he has been thrust into a fairly awkward position.
Yeah, because Jill's his daddy.
Much like Stephen Hawking.
And yeah, these.
I call him Wheels.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to be in this situation.
No.
Stephen Hawking absolutely wanted to be in that situation. And this morning, Theo Von, the comedian who has a very popular podcast that both JD Vance and Trump.
Isn't that a Democratic, like, is that where you go to make a petition? Move on?
Theo Vaughn.
Or is it
Theo Vaughn.
Is that Irish?
Yes, one of the Theo. You know what? Huh? Theo.
Mr. Vaughn here.
Theo. Hey, I'm
Hey,
Mr.
Theo Vaughn. I've
Vaughn.
heard of him. He's an influencer. Yeah. Oh, God, he's huge. Are you kidding me?
I'm wrong.
No.
Yesterday, 7 p.m., June 5th, 2025. 68.8 million views. JD Vance, slow news day. What are we even going to talk about?
Yeah.
And has a picture of Theo Vaughn. So there we go. It's gonna happen. That's my.
Alex,
Then
who's
I've
Theo
caught my
Vaughn?
dragon. Look at.
And is it relevant to the story who Theo Vaughn is?
Yes.
Who's Theo
Theo Vaughn is a comedian who has a very popular podcast that apparently JD Vance was on yesterday.
Oh, okay. Is he like a political interviewer guy?
No, he's one of the comedians who's like in the Joe Rogan school of I'm just asking the questions. You've probably seen the clip of when Trump is talking about
haven't.
his brother. No,
I just no. But anyway, keep going. Sorry, is it important to the story? I don't want to. Talk about
yes, because this was my fully
because now JD's on the
moment.
scene.
No, yeah, but he wasn't. It was like, where's JD? What's happening? But then
Everyone asks, "Where's
the
JD?"
discourse-
Nobody ever asks, "How's JD?"
Yeah, it's very sad, very sad. Anyway, I've just been looking and waiting and realizing, okay, this is exactly as funny as we'd hoped, and this is a lovely little treat.
But so stupid and so consequential. I mean, in some ways. But now I'm sorry. I want to. I would like to talk a little. Pause. Should we save the wonderful Pee Wee Herman show for the next episode, perhaps?
We should,
Because we're an hour and 6 minutes in.
Yes, and there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot more to talk about here too.
Yes.
Let alone data
And a lot
connectors and
to
all the
talk
jokes I've
about-
apparently stolen from comedians about Stephen Hawking
Not
eating pussy.
stolen, but like
Not
I
stolen.
read this as
No, you think I would ever do that joke? You think I would ever do that?
No,
Oh,
I'm
man.
saying that it is on that level of mediocre. And because you are an extremely funny, extremely original person, to the point where most of your jokes, I think, are unique.
I think
in
you're
the
not
true
imagining
way.
him like leaning backwards. I think to see the picture, you've got to understand it's got two big wheels and two little wheels. And the big wheels are normally on the back. Now, he's probably in a motorized one, so this may not be factually accurate. But if it's the kind they just give you at the airport that folds up, I think an aggressive woman could very much lean that backwards and hold on to the handles and pull the handles side to side to simulate, unmasking the singer, if you know what I mean.
I'm going to do the thing where I just pull in one of my random friends who is in a wheelchair to talk about how when you are on a regular commercial airplane and you have to switch from the normal cool wheelchair you have, and then you get the like rickety gross airport one.
That's why they call it the
could
cunnilingus
not-
chair.
Yes, well, but you can't fuck in one of those wheelchairs, and it's not the typical ableism of you're on the regular express.
Your sentence began
not
with
the,
in a strange way of you're gonna. So is this someone you're bringing on the show?
Yes,
Or is this
yes.
a bit you're doing
Welcome
about what
in,
they say?
Welcome in. Yeah.
Oh, this is their bit about airplane sex.
You can't have regular.
That's a shame.
It is.
I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't have airplane sex.
I think exactly.
That's a shame.
couldn't-
You know what that is?
you-
That's a microaggression. Why don't they make planes that people can fuck on? Why can't everybody fuck on a plane?
That's why the Lolita Express needed to happen. So
Well,
that
what if
you
it's
could
off
really
hours? You know what I'm saying? Okay, well, but then, that, I gotta say,
Do you think it's consequential? Do you think it's going to be real? I still don't know.
well,
Still don't know.
that's a good
I still don't know if January 6th was consequential or if it mattered.
There's a couple ways to address. I mean, one is like it was really fucking funny and stupid and silly and like all the stuff I feel like on top of. I mean, the thing I'm always just saying to Madeline is like the worst part is what's happening, and the second worst part is how dumb it is, how dumb everything is, and how dumb on top of dumb on top of dumb It is. And like, has there ever been more of a pox on both your houses type thing to watch two idiots fight like this? And I got my popcorn. But, it's not without consequence. None of this is without consequence. And I'm not trying to like spoil it or like say, oh, politics is a big deal. But like, if people can be weird enough to get us to where we are now, and if people could be weird enough to like get to like this not being objectionable to them as an entire way to deal with the world, it's all so stupid and getting so much stupider. And I do not see the slightest sign of this getting less stupid. There's the hints. There's the MSNBC style, watch this space type shit. Oh, I almost texted you guys last night because I went to lay down. I was like, oh, I got to go watching TV. And I laid down to take a nap. I didn't make it. But as I was thinking, I was going to write to you two and say, like, can you imagine, because Rachel has the night off. She's only there on Mondays now. Can you imagine Rachel Maddow's cats last night?
Oh, God.
She was
their necks must hurt.
Wow. Wow. Just once. But no, but the thing like, sorry, I don't want to get real, but like, yeah, this is gonna have consequences. Now here's the sucky part. Let's talk about the fun part that's sucky. The fun part that's sucky, or the sucky part that's fun, the sucky part that sucks is that, and I maybe I'm being a little bit dark gray pill here, but I kind of wish this would go on for a few more days. I kind of wish this would escalate in stupider ways that would shake 5 people out of their stupor about what's happening, including me, maybe. But my gut is, and this is not based on much of anything, but my gut is it's not going to get worse. What do you think?
You
think it's going to get worse?
Will be real, along with me being late for today.
You're fine,
and
don't worry.
Getting distracted
Yeah.
I have had zero caffeine. Oh boy. Let's say it does shake certain people awake, as you said. Who are those people and what would that do? Would there,
I mean,
again,
there's like,
would it be...
one of the most, this sounds like a very sounds like a very cynical thing for me to say, where like, it's either going to sound like I'm being very cynical or I'm being very naive, which is fine. But there are people who have power and aren't using it. And sometimes that's really smart. Like, for example, it was only in the last few months that I learned the phrase strategic retreat. And that's not a euphemism. Like in the Battle of Stalingrad in particular, the Russians, the Soviets got really good at doing something that's called a strategic retreat, which does not mean running away scared and flailing your arms around. Like, you retreat in such a way that it improves your chances for the next battle. You can have a strategic retreat when you're winning, probably. Like, but there's something to like, it's not just a matter of winning this battle at all costs today, but to like keep the effort going. And that really paid off for the Soviets, because it took too long for the Germans to realize how fucked they were. They were too far east in Russia to realize how fucked they were. And it had been so easy. They got a little bit over their skis about it and had not taken into account a ton of things, including the mud, including the weather, including the fact that Goering was not really actually helping with Luftwaffe bringing supplies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you just play it low key, and you could think of that as a trap or whatever, like however you think about that kind of stuff. But like a strategic retreat like means that you aren't leaving out of like fear of losing or fear of injury. You're leaving because that's part of your strategy to get you to the next thing. And like, I wonder sometimes, like, I'm no chess player, but like, I think sometimes people don't really think in those kinds of terms. We get so obsessed with who won today. But like, I remember last night thinking, well, if it was going to get a lot worse, it kind of already would have gotten a lot worse. And so then in the absence of the dopamine that makes us excited about this, then people rush in and say things like, oh, well, you could tell that really hurt Trump because now he's not saying anything. So he doesn't want to, you think that's how it works? Do you really think that's how it works? But as far as the people to reach, this is the cynical thing. The cynical thing is to say that it's starting to feel like at every level, including obviously the highest levels of society and government, finance, technology, even at the highest levels, the need or desire to pretend like you're a good guy doing a good thing for the right reasons, is falling away. And we really saw that yesterday, where you're like, wait a minute. So as of 5 days ago, you wanted us to believe that you guys were the best pals in the world and you were working hard for America. And like all this, the back and forth of that being so personal, that's the president of the United States doing that. You know, it would be like what? It would be like, I don't know, like Woodrow Wilson getting into a fight with Randolph Hearst or something, where it's like, you're just like, which happened, but they fought like gentlemen. They didn't do it on the internet, you know, pneumatic tubes maybe. But I was thinking yesterday that if it was going to, because, you know, a lot of it is, you know, heat and passion stuff. Now today I saw a headline that said the birthday boy is saying he's not going to decommission the spaceship that takes the astronauts up and down. Is that correct?
I've seen both, and speculation on whether or not just the threat is part of.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just finish that one dumb fucking thing. All I was going to say was the people. I mean, like, I don't have anything smart to say about this. It is cynical or naive, depending on how you look at it.
There isn't anything smart to say about it. What has anyone said that's smart?
But every one of these dumb fucking things that we see, if you look at it from a distance and try to score it like Quidditch, you watch this stuff going on and go like, oh, well, this judge decided that they're putting a pause on this Trump thing. That means our side won that one a little bit. And like, oh, now it's being decided that the Supreme Court says this part of that, and it's all being fought out in court as I guess we could expect at this point. It's all, but like, is that really a win for us? Because like, not only have we not won the battle, but we really didn't win the war. And also every single one of these changes has tremendous costs and tremendous, risks associated with it. An obvious one is like if you lay off arbitrarily, whatever, you lay off 5,000 people, well, you've really just fucked up those people's lives really hard. But then, so you've gone through all the stuff, all the sunk costs of, again, young employees, all the sunk costs of recruiting, which from podcast ads, most of you know, is pretty costly. Hiring is costly. And retaining people in a good company, retaining good people becomes a really big part of what you do, not just with money, but with culture and like all those kinds of things. But like, fire 5,000 people. Holy shit. How am I going to pay for my kids' braces? We want now actually, some of them are the only ones that know the password. So we need to hire some of them back. Every single one of those things has a cost. And you can amplify that across every one of these piece of shit, dumb things that's happening that we see as a headline that we read and go like, oh, did our side win or lose that particular one today? If you're even choosing to keep up with it, which is extremely difficult and frustrating, but we don't get the dopamine hit of, some kind of sanity is coming back to people's apprehension of the world. Like, and I don't know who it would be, but I have to say there are some things like, there's a part of me that thinks, not Warren Buffett exactly, but somebody who is regarded as a big business guy with a lot of influence. I'm not saying that they go on social media and say, calm down, but like, start working some angles. Like supposedly, at least according to like Caitlin Collins, people were just freaking out at the White House yesterday and in Musk's camp, like trying to figure out a way to, what they say, turn down the temperature, right? Because, you know, if you're Stephen Miller's wife, you work for Elon Musk, can't you imagine that yesterday was a pretty strange day? And
yeah. But I don't know. I continue to not know if there are, unlike what has happened since January of this year, if there are any consequences to this. Like how, you know.
But I mean, just because it's not like 1992 doesn't mean that things don't change. They just change. They just change in ways we can't see because that's how history works.
But this specific thing, this, I'm saying, like, this is what is, I'm trying to, like, articulate that the reason this feels really good to a lot of people is it is almost at this point transcending, quote, sides, because even fucking Charlie Kirk is like,
rich
this is
grifters
so
argue is
dumb.
funny. It's funny.
It is.
They're both rich grifters, and whatever. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I don't know if it sounds to me like in a lot of ways Elon Musk has not always been a grifter, but in some ways he's always been a grifter. Really, really, he's a smart guy. He's a smart fella, and he knows lots of stuff. As we're discovering, not nearly as much as we might have imagined, or he would like us to infer. But no, you're watching two corrupt people bicker on a personal level at the highest level, and that is weird as fuck to watch.
It's not just weird, it is an affirmation of, all right, it is like there is insanity, and sure, we aren't like, quote, going back, or as someone we fucking know said, oh, this isn't what America believed in
This is not who we are.
until January. Yeah, like this isn't, that's kind of when
No joke, man.
I hit,
Not even kidding.
it fucking
Barack Obama.
broke my fucking brain when I saw people who were like friends who I was like, you know, like what, your life is not representative of most people, right? Your beliefs aren't representative of the rest of the country, and not to get all like political, but like just you know, there aren't $400 in most people's bank accounts. No, you are not. This is not a belief that everybody shares, and that is why, like, something as stupid as this, I still think the consequences, and I think a lot of people are still like, there don't seem to be many consequences, unlike bills being passed, unlike when people are being fired and lives are being uprooted. And it's just an insane thing that is happening. It is a dragon that you can chase without like stepping into like instead of that. It almost feels harmless. It feels harmless to watch two people just strangle each other.
Yeah, especially because they both,
internet.
well, they both hold grudges in different ways. Like, they also both get distracted pretty easily. It's just, you know, and these are two people. Well, they're both, fuck, never mind. Because they're both two guys who just love to be a dog with a bone. And that part, but like, I don't know. If it is going to continue, I hope it gets way worse, and is fun and not just merely, undignified to the country. You know?
As opposed to all of the dignity that America has had since before January 20th, 2025.
Wow.
It's insane. It's insane.
Do you know anything about D-Day? Do you know how it worked? Do you know how long it took to plan?
Do you know? Do you even care about Operation Mincemeat?
Operation Mincemeat? I watched that movie with Matthew McFadden and liked it.
Important.
I also watched the thing about yet another thing about Enigma yesterday, which Enigma still breaks my brain. What a fucking incredible machine.
Right?
Oh my God. When they added the letter switchers on top of it all, oh my God. Completely bananas.
No, now I want to watch the Enigma
Crying
machine
Game.
again. I know.
Imitation Game. What's it called?
The Imitation Game.
Imitation Game? Is that the one where we see his dick?
Yes. What?
I think that's the
Not that I remember.
spoilers.
I wish. I mean, what? Never mind.
Are you talking about the Benedict?
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that. Now, see, that was undignified.
Yeah, that wasn't. I haven't heard that one before though. So
I found myself looking at this and saying, like, obviously, this strands I found started by finding it was cryptids was the spangram. Cryptids, like, cryptozoological things. Do you follow?
I do remember this,
and like
because
jackalope and things like that. I got jackalope was one of my first ones, and the thing that moved me to post that on the internet was the moment where I said to myself, "Huh, does Slender Man count as a cryptid?" And I said to myself, "Does Slender Man count as a cryptid?" And then I realized I don't. I mean, I think I know the answer to that, but I ultimately not only don't want to know the answer to that, but I wish I hadn't been able to ask the question, thereby identifying some undignified knowledge in my life.
Someone came up
What's
with
the best thing to
Slenderman
use for a tampon if the machine's out of tampons?
At some point,
Hey, Alex, what's the
someone
best
was
thing to
like,
use for a tampon if the machine's out of tampons?
Well, it depends.
See?
I will not.
But you know,
okay.
right? You know. Without telling me, you're aware of that fact. That's a kind of slightly undignified knowledge. I mean, like, I could figure out how to jack off where people wouldn't know. That's undignified knowledge. I know how to get on a plane and strap in safely in the full upright position, if you know what I mean. There's knowledge in our lives that, like, at the moment where I'm finding myself burning cycles, wondering if Slender Man is a cryptid. See, I am a fancy Duchess, and I say to myself, I don't like the fact that I was even able to ask myself that question. And so I guess I closed the app. Thank you.
Did you ask the dingus whether or not?
No. I used to do spell check. What's it called? Spelling thing. I used to do that like a cuck and like really do it all the way through until I got at least the highest, into the hundreds. And I would use the app for that because they have a cool app that'll help you with clues. And if I was really stuck, I would use that. But,
Wait, I thought we agreed the clues were undignified.
In which game?
All of them in the New York Times suite of games.
Well, no, I was saying specifically no, I don't think so. I mean, some of my answers are not like for the spelling bee. Some of my answers are really, really quite silly and reveal or reflect very undignified information. Because sometimes I just want to see the word that I know I could make out of all the letters, and it makes me laugh when I take a screenshot. Then I don't always close the app. Bad on me.
Actually, that makes sense. Fair.
I've gotten some good ones lately, because the way I do spelling bee is you just got to get the, what's it called? The thing that uses all the letters. What's that called? An acrostic? What's it called?
Oh, fuck, you're right.
The super word.
Okay, what is?
Hang on, no, I gotta pull it up. What's it called? I do it every day. What's it called? You get the, not the spangram, you get the, what's it called? What's it called, Alex?
Oh, God.
Let's see, did I do today's?
No.
I haven't yet done today's.
I don't have it on my phone.
You don't have it on your phone. That's weird.
Why? I don't play it anymore. It makes me, I'm not burning cycles thinking, oh man, I wonder what sort of weird transphobic thing the New York Times
it'll show you
wrote
yesterday's
today.
Whoa, I didn't know it could do that. That's crazy.
Yes, I don't want to wait.
I didn't know
don't
that.
want to waste cycles on that. I do want to waste cycles on trying to argue with ChatGPT because I think Slender Man is a cryptid. Because again, yes, technically it's a fictional character created in 2009 on something awful forums as part of a Photoshop contest. Yeah, but
I don't think you know what a cryptid is.
Unless. So he's more accurately described as a modern myth or internet horror icon, not a cryptid. But again, What is a cryptid? Cryptids are typically creatures rooted in folklore or legend. But what is folklore or legend?
What is folklore or legend? What is existence?
Creepypasta? Yeah.
What is creepypasta? Yeah.
Let's
You've tapped into some extremely dignified knowledge at this point.
Kierkegaard would entertain this question. I think he would be like...
He was Danish. No, I mean, not all Danes. Taylor Dane. You got Taylor Dane. She's fine. You got Dane Cook. He's a comedian that people enjoy. See, now you made a noise.
He's a dignified person. I said...
You're kind of a reaction machine.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Show
me the lie. Oh, baby.
No.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
No.